Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Cause this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're gonna give it to you rough, rugged, and raw, so come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. What's up? What's up? What is up? It is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Success and Celebration, a.k.a. Breezy. And I'm feeling real breezy this morning. Y'all check me out. Today's episode is at the Met Gala. And y'all know at the Met Gala, fashion goes down. So we didn't get invited this year, but the old saying is dress for the position that you want. And the Ball Hog Sports Talk, this is the last year. You heard it here on the 17th of September, 2021. This is the last year we don't get invited to the Met Gala. We about to do this thing. We're going to do it together. So we're going to dress for the occasion and dress for the position that we want, because we'll be there next year. At the Met Gala, you know that there's fashion. And we saw fashion forward. We saw fashion backward. We saw fashion sideways. We saw all type of fashion. But there was mostly fashion fluidity. Men wear dresses now. Women wear tuxedos, but everyone stepped it up when it came to their political messages and their style and taste. So we're going to do the same thing here today. The Met Gala, and although it's about fashion, it's also about philanthropy, about charity. They're raising money, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use fashion to raise money for my, Mighty Mike football team. Stay tuned for that. I love the fact that it's for charity, but on the Ball Hog Sports Talk, what we do is we use the topic, which today is at the Met Gala, and fashion to hop into sports, business, entertainment. We only know how to do it one way, rough, rugged, and raw. So pull up your seat, fasten up your seatbelt, and let's hop on in. I am joined, as always, by two amazing co-stars, co-hosts, whatever you want to call them. It is my man, the Big Flow Show, and ETP Ellis, the producer. Okay, looking good, gentlemen. How y'all doing? I got to take off the shades now. I got to make sure I see everybody face to face. How y'all doing, baby? Look at it. Everybody stepped up. Let me see your Met Gala gear. Let me see what you're looking like. This is what you call,
this is lineman sexy versus
lineman sexy. That's a new genre of clothing.
Wide receiver sexy. Right. Y'all got to be seen. You got to make sure they can see you. I'm already too easy to see, so I got to settle it down. I give you a little something on the collar. That's all I can do. I give you a little something on the sleeve. Watch your mouth.
Okay. All right.
And all black. I know you probably got diamonds on yours. I just keep it kind of casual. Sit back in the corner.
Hey, man, lineman sexy. We just came up with a whole new fashion show we going to do.
The Big Sexes.
I like it. The Big Sexes. ETP, Ellis, the producer. What you got for us? I see you out on the coat. I know you a Boston man. Just like wear your hats. But
baby. We off chains. We put the pieces on our hats these days.
Got a piece on his hat, baby.
Is that a black Jesus on your hat?
Gold Jesus, baby. Don't rub it too much because it might turn into silver Jesus.
Okay. There it is, baby. Hey, man, gold flakes. These are gold flakes. This is the at the Met Gala episode. So let's hop on in, y'all, because there was a lot of fashion. A lot of people were dressed to the nines. But the sports world took center stage, and we'll get to what they did in the Met Gala. But we got to get there after talking a little bit of sports, because week one of the NFL occurred. And I know some people are still on I am with Cap ban and boycott rather of the NFL. I'm not on that bandwagon anymore. I'm still with Cap, but I'm going to watch NFL. So I watched week one. I'm guilty. If you're judging me, go ahead and judge. I watched week one. And we'll get to week one. But week two started with the battle of the uglies. Last night, Thursday night football, the New York Giants and the Washington football team they played a game of who can lose. They both were trying to give each other the game. It literally came down to who's going to be better at losing. And the Giants if the game was competing on who can lose, the Giants won by losing technically. It was ugly, man. And if you're struggling to follow it, it was a struggle to follow that game last night. It was a horrible game that was good just because it was competitive between two bad teams. Is that a fair assessment?
It was definitely a fun game to watch. You know, I have a confidence pool, and unfortunately, I picked the Giants, so I cared. But other than that, it was just interesting to see what stupidity was going to happen. Like, you throw a pick when you're trying to run the clock out at the end. Are you kidding me? Anything but that.
He failed the math test. Coach failed the math test. I'm like, Ron Rivera, I guess you put that on the offense coordinator. Head coach walks away from that decision.
Do you jump off sides on your nose guard on a field goal when they don't even say hut. They don't even say hut. Everybody shows their hand.
Everybody. I don't know, man. It was tough to watch, but again, I found it was like a car crash that you couldn't turn away from. I couldn't turn the TV because I'm like, oh, I know they didn't just. I know they didn't just. It was this growing level of stupidity that each play seemed to be more evidence of these are bad teams. The NFC East is, I don't know, man. I guess the Eagles would be the favorite, but last night was a poor showing for the entire division. NFL Network had to be happy because I'm sure, like others, other people couldn't turn away. It was that bad. It was that good at being bad.
Pick a week and it's a bad showing for that division, but okay.
I just wonder what Dallas is going to have to do a lot. I wonder what they're going to do to lose this division.
I know.
Because you know they're going to lose this division.
It's going to be hard this year. It's going to be hard for Dallas to suck again this year, but I think they could do it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could do it. They've been there before.
I have faith. They're consistent. They got to
stay with the Eagles, man. I picked the Eagles to win that division. But let's move forward by moving backward and talk about week one. Week one was an interesting week, right? Because while the Giants and the Washington football team showed their poor football prowess last night, week one had a lot of highlights. And I think for me, the highlight of all highlights was Lamar Jackson basically being Superman. He essentially put the entire team on his back, came up short, but man, he played well.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because we were talking in the offseason when he was out in Florida and running some routes with these kids, and everybody's like, you're getting all this money, you could get hurt. They didn't protect him at all.
No,
they didn't protect. You worried about these
during
kids.
The season. You
worried about during the season. You sending Mack trucks to run him over every play. That's play.
Facts. He doesn't care.
Yeah. It was very unimpressive, uninspiring play by the offensive line. They can't do that all year, though. I do worry about quarterbacks taking too many hits, and Lamar Jackson by nature is aggressive. He's a running back, really, in terms of what he can do in the running game. He's an extra running back. But I hope they find some more protection because you can't run for your life all season. But he did it. Week one, he was Superman. I don't know who else stood out for you guys in week one, but Lamar Jackson for me was on the positive side of standing out. Anybody stand out for either one of you?
Jameis Winston, man. I think it's great to see him taking over New Orleans. You know, I think everybody thought that Drew Brees gone, so now the Saints are gonna kind of fade into obscurity. And Jameis Winston too. I mean, just based on the fact that he went through the most interceptions, had more interceptions than touchdowns. He led the league in yards in the past, but you know, the assumption was he was a done deal. So it's good to see him throw 5 touchdowns, no picks, but he didn't even throw 200 yards, which the numbers just don't add up. It's crazy.
They don't, not with 5 interceptions, but that shows that their coaching staff understands who they have. I think in Tampa, they were trying to make a gunslinger. And while he has the arm strength to be a gunslinger, he doesn't make great decisions. And so they limited the amount of decisions that he had to make in the passing game, and he thrived. I thought that he did very well. So hats off to your pick. Anybody for you, the Big Flow Show? Anybody stand out?
What was my man?
Good or bad?
Good. You know, I'm a defensive guy. What's the guy? Was it Chandler Jones that had the 5 sacks?
Oh yeah, Chandler Jones.
Yeah, you know, anytime you can destroy a man like that, because you think about it, the first time you got the sack, okay, cool, I got this. All right, don't worry about it. I step back. The offensive line came back. Second time, he's like, all right, got me again. He's like, hey, man, could you guys roll a little help for me? But by the time you get to like sack 4 and 5, dude is like, I can't get him, man. Is there anything we can do? Can you roll? Could you throw quick? Can we
last Boy Scout pull out a gun, shoot
whatever
it. That's about the only thing that was gonna stop
that. He made the man come out and thank him publicly for making him know he had to step his game up and do whatever. That I think that's a good approach. I mean, to own it right now before I can let you guys
stop it. You don't think that Big Flo show? He was getting in front of the train there and trying to be preemptive.
That's a good approach, man. Take the dude and get out there before they can kill you. 8 Mile.
That's like 8 Mile. Eminem. I know what you're gonna say about me. I got killed, but
I got killed. Yeah,
he made me.
But a 5-sack performance, man. I think you gotta take your head off. The good thing is, as a defender, you start thinking, "Ooh, I can't wait." When you come out the gate with 5 and 20 is a fantastic number, you're like, I'm already half. Oh man, I'm there. I can chill.
Right.
I can take some plays off now. I'm good.
So, yeah, because what's the record? What season record? 20.
Yeah, he's on pace to break it.
He's on pace for 85 sacks this season.
Hey, he's like, man, I hope we got them again on the schedule. I'm gonna get at least 3 on this dude.
Now that he did stand out, and I'm not surprised you picked a defensive dude. For me, it's got to be Kyler Murray, man. Kyler Murray, like he's a small dude, all right. And I'm not height shaming, but he is a small dude. I didn't think he was gonna be this good. I'm gonna be honest. That dude out there looking like he's on. Look like Tecmo Bowl. 4 touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 21 for 32 for 289 yards. The man looked like he playing Tecmo Bowl, and it looks really weird because that's normally the only place you would see someone of such short stature having so much success is on a video game. That dude is balling, and let me just say to Kyler Murray, and maybe he's not watching it now, but next year I'll repeat this apology when we make it to the Met Gala. They're going to invite us, baby. I apologize.
Or we'll crash.
I apologize for shortchanging you. That was a short joke, man. Y'all didn't catch it. I apologize for saying that you would not make it in the NFL and that you would be regretting the decision to play football over baseball. You made the right decision, my brother. And the fans are the ones that I think are benefiting from that decision, man, because he's playing some great football. Now, on the other side of it, that was good football. Can we all agree that on the bad side of it, that Aaron himself, double check,
double jeopardy,
Jeopardy, all of that. The man who has blasted the front office, thou who has been called the greatest, despite only having 1 Super Bowl. They say he walks on water, maybe because his hair's a little long now. But Aaron Rodgers looked like doo-doo. In the same game that Jameis Winston went out there, put up those numbers, was very, 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 very impressive. Aaron Rodgers, the chosen one, looked like, I ain't gonna go too far, but because I want to get invited to the Met Gala. I know how they do it. But he looked bad, y'all. 15 for 28 for 133 yards, 2 interceptions, and most importantly, it looked pedestrian. It looked like he was sleepwalking. It looked like he was still trying to negotiate the new terms of a deal in the middle of the game. He looked bad.
He's losing that negotiation. I think he looks like, hey, I told y'all to trade me. Y'all didn't trade me.
That's on y'all.
Yeah, it's hard to think it's not intentional. He's never played like that. Never.
You started to think that the Texans looking for 6 people. They knew somebody was coming up.
Hey, I would have fell for it. He played so bad that I would have fell for it. I'm like, bruh, we good. We don't need that, especially when we got a young man in Julian Love right here behind you that can absolutely play. And is more athletic, has a lot more.
Jordan Love.
What did I call him, Justin?
Julian Love. You gave him a little
Julian. That's the Notre Dame kid. Sorry.
I didn't see
Jordan Love. Jordan Love. My bad. Jordan Love, not Julian. That's so. Jordan Love, though, is sitting there hovering, waiting. I think I would have fell for the okie doke. I would have been like Aaron Rodgers in the third quarter. I got somebody on the phone. Instead of it being somebody upstairs diagramming plays, it would have been his agent. Like, y'all, you win. You can move him right now.
Danica Patrick, one of them. Somebody call his woman. Isn't that still his woman? Hey,
he looked bad, man. Like, absolutely bad.
Baby.
He need a hug. He need a conjugal. He's not doing good, man. I don't know what's going on.
We got to talk about two other things. The young wide receivers, because since you brought up the defensive lineman, Chandler Jones, who deserved mention with 5 sacks in one game. But there were some young wide receivers, man. Jamar Chase, who at one point said it was harder to catch the ball because the NFL ball because it doesn't have little white lines on it. And people clowned him. They straight up clowned him. Had a big day. He balled out.
That was a trick.
That was a trick.
Lying.
Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith both balled out in week 1. These young wide receivers balled out. The fact that all 3 of those came from the SEC just anyway.
2 from one.
I'm venting. I'm a 2 from one team. I'm venting. But my man Jamar Chase had 5 receptions, 101 yards and a touchdown. He made good on such a high draft pick. But they all did. They also showed that there might be sort of a youth movement when it comes to these receivers. So we shall see. Stay tuned. But the story that I got to get to, my Browns, the Browns, who will be the Super Bowl champs this year. You heard it here first. I said it.
Say what you
Super Bowl champs. We gave away a game against Kansas City, but whatever. But the refs were very helpful.
Friendly.
Yes, the punter, I don't know what the punter was doing. We figured out a way to lose in Arrowhead Stadium, whatever. But that's not even the story. The storyline really is one of the Kansas City Chiefs assistant coaches somehow, some way pushed the safety from the Browns, Ronnie Harrison Jr. The coach is Greg Lewis, who used to play receiver for the Eagles. And Ronnie Harrison Jr. does what anybody would do, defends himself, pushes back, gets ejected. The ref doesn't even see the assistant coach. I don't know how coaches, and it harkens back to Joey Porter. Remember Joey Porter had the skirmish when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers with Pac-Man Jones with Cincinnati? This is what it reminds me of. There's an eye in the sky, but a coach, and this is where that thin line is blurred sometimes because a lot of these coaches are former players. But a coach putting his hands on a player during the game, to me, should be far more unacceptable than the retaliation. I hope, and I haven't followed it to date, but I hope that at least the Kansas City Chiefs are going to get fined for that because the eye in the sky showed exactly what happened. He just retaliated. And I thought he should have retaliated and was reserved in the retaliation.
They try to make it seem like he punched him. He pushed him. He didn't push him to the ground. You pushed me, I pushed you back. We're all getting off the pile. We're pushing. It's different. If you push a ref can push you and you got to take it, right? Because the ref is just an official out there. But the coaches can get flagged too. So I thought that was a flag, okay. An ejection? Are the coaches a protected class now?
Yeah. Maybe. I didn't understand it at the time, but I was wearing my fan hat at the time. So I was biased because, I'm a fan of the Browns who will be the Super Bowl champs this year. So I was wearing my fan hat, and I've had a few days to think about it, remove myself, and I'm still like, how does that happen? How does that happen? Like, you don't eject somebody for that. I don't think, even if you push another player.
Push. A ref. You can't push a ref. But anything that you can push the lines, Judge. I mean, the chain gang, can't you? I mean, who? Yeah. And where do we draw the line?
But the initial point of it, the player, he was surrounded and he was actually trying to get out of there. Like
he was.
The assumption was, he's in there trying to mix it up. He's stepping on.
Trying to make it like he was trying to stop.
He laid the dude out and he was trying to get out of there, and he was stepping over, trying to get away. The coach pushed him as he was walking away. So in reality, the fact that this kid got ejected is insult to injury because he didn't even start anything with another player. He was trying.
He was there. He came to the aid of one of his teammates. And we all know how it is.
No, he was in the play.
No, he was just trying to get out of the.
He was in the play, and the dude, they tried to make
area.
it seem like he tried to stomp on the dude, but the dude, I don't know, he wasn't holding his leg. His leg was twisted up, and he was trying to, step up out of it. You don't want to fall over. And dude pushed him, and he got his feet back. It was like, what are we doing here?
What I will say is this. I love the fact that Ronnie Harrison Jr. has an eagle eye, because I was tripping on how he even knew that was the person that pushed him. But like, he should be a boxer. He knew exactly where it came from. There's been a lot of talk this week, and people have said that Ronnie Harrison Jr. was absolutely wrong. I can't defend the decision to push him, but it just feels as though that should have been, all right, keep on playing. I don't think it was a big deal. I didn't think so then, and then looking at it in review, I absolutely don't think it's a big deal. But if one player was ejected, which impacted the game, that's a starter.
It should be reviewed.
Right? It should absolutely be reviewed. So whatever the NFL review office is doing, how do you not get that right? It was clear as day that all he did was push the man back. It was clear as day that he didn't ball his fist. It was clear as day that he was just on the sideline because having made a play and trying to get away. He was a little slower to get away because there was another teammate there, and I think they were both trying to get off the sideline together. But here comes Greg Lewis with the cheap shot of the year, gets away with it then. And I haven't heard of him being fined or Kansas City being fined, but I think that they need to take another step and justice needs to be served. Kansas City needs to at least be fined.
Yeah, I believe it's under investigation. They haven't, levied any decision on it, but I think it'll be interesting because this ultimately does what we're starting to see is former players more immediately removed that are becoming coaches, right? Like there's kind of this transition into your Greg Lewis caught a touchdown like 4 Super Bowls ago, right? Like he's not that far removed from the game. So the mentality and just being around the game, I assume has something to do with it. So the lines are getting blurred. So obviously there needs to be some rule changes, and we'll see if this, provokes them to kind of change the policies. But ultimately, like you said, I agree. There should be at least a minimum of a fine if there's a suspension. But the problem is you can't unlose the game. So
you can't put the guy back. That's the problem. Who cares about the money and all that stuff? That's none of. I mean, there are rich people anyway, but you can't. Again, if you push the player, you wouldn't get ejected. So why do you get ejected for pushing a coach? I mean, the coaches are not the officials are hands off. You can't touch those people. They're not there. But the coaches can get flags just like the players can get flags. So they're part of the deal. So if they touch you, you touch them back. What's the story?
I don't know why they did it. It didn't make sense for me. But in this NFL recap, and again, I'm biased. I'm a Browns fan. That one didn't sit well with me this week. But we did see in week 1. You know the old saying, prime time said it, baby, because Prime doing his thing. Shout out to Prime, baby. Look good, feel good, play good. I know it's not grammatically correct, but don't worry about it. All right, look good, feel good, play good. And in this week's episode at the Met Gala, the NFL in week 1, and for the most part, they look good. They felt good and they played good. It was some good football, but that was a bad look for the NFL that a coach is given that leeway to push a player and the player is then suspended for retaliating. And I agree with you, ETP, that the lines are very blurred. Because just like Joey Porter, when he was coaching with the Steelers and Pac-Man Jones on the sideline, they had a history.
Yeah.
We might mess around and find out that Greg Lewis and Ronnie Harrison Jr. have a history because that looked like he was just waiting to push him. I've been waiting to push you, but 3 years since and again, he got away with it. A player we did not mention in week 1 that sure enough got off, Russell Wilson. He balled as well. But I think for me, in this episode of At the Met Gala, he deserves mention because his woman, Sierra, was one of the entertainment figures that showed up at the Met Gala. And she showed up. I know Jay-Z got the hot line. I got the hottest chick in the game wearing my chain. But this man, Russell Wilson's woman, showed up at the Met Gala with a custom dress, bedazzled with the number 3.
Look a little bit like what you got on.
You know what? You kind of resemble. It kind of you got a point there. But I told you, man, it's
same
fashion
volume.
fluid,
It's
baby.
the same exact volume.
The same energy. It's the same energy.
Hey, you got a point there, man. You got Sierra-ish right now. Feeling real Sierra-ish. But she showed up in this very bright green Seattle Seahawks dress jersey and had a bedazzled look to it. Had a bedazzled clutch purse in the shape of a football. Man, let's give that man a round of applause, man. Because one man's trash is another man's treasure. What Future could not do and provide for that woman. Hey, Russell Wilson, man, shout out, my brother. Because that's still a fine
you're doing something
woman.
right. You're doing something right.
That
was her moment.
For women to wear a dress, a customized bedazzled dress to the Met Gala, I thought I was doing something when somebody wore my Letterman jacket. When I gave somebody my little chain, my pendant, she had a all-out dress customized in the
somebody
man.
still tried to shoot at her? Or she was out there, somebody tried to get at her? Or
You know,
think
somebody
it's just
still
a lost
did.
cause? Like you talking to a girl, you just gonna ignore the football uniform she's got. I think he's good, man. He can let her.
Yeah, like if the wedding ring wasn't enough, like I have a dress on.
She was wearing the Super Bowl ring also.
Yeah,
yo, man. Hey, shout out Russell Wilson.
You can do.
Yeah, shout out Russell Wilson, man.
Aside,
hey,
Russ,
that's real love right there. When you show up at the Met Gala with a customized jersey dress to represent your man, hey, brother, shout out to him. But there's some other fashion news at the Met Gala. And sports took center stage. One of the co-hosts of the entire Met Gala was none other than a subject that we've discussed several times here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk, the Haitian Sensation Part 2, because we know you Haitian Sensation Part 1. No doubt. Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka, yes, thank you, Ellis. Thank you, ETP. I appreciate it. Ellis, the producer, you done it again. Well, they say pictures say 1,000 words, whatever it says. Like, just look at this picture. Now, this is the same Naomi Osaka who has talked several times about
scared of the media.
her reluctance to engage with the media. Now, to her credit, this design was a partnership with Louis Vuitton, and it started with a drawing that her sister made. And her sister is also a professional tennis player, created basically a cultural combination of her Japanese and Haitian heritage. And all of that, I have to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. All of that is amazing, wonderful, cool. All right. There's a period there. Next sentence.
We got to say shout out to Haiti.
All right, that's the second sentence. Shout out to Haiti.
And where's the other place? That small island off the coast of Haiti, that Japan. That's the other place.
It's a province. It's
a province.
It's a territory. It's a territory of Haiti.
It's like something you line up, so you know Haiti's coming up. You just line up. Oh,
that little place, Japan, right? And at least you acknowledge that other little part of her heritage. I got you.
That's the part that doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good. All right, so now there's another period, but I got to get to the third sentence. The Big Flow Show, ETP, Ellis, the producer. What is going on here, man? And I'm very there's a man with a purple bedazzled coat. I'm dressed in that, and I'm still looking at what is going on here, man. Make it make sense for me. ETP, I'll start with you. You've done the red carpet before. Before the Ball Hog Sports Talk, I don't give everybody your creds, but you lived a life where you were on the red carpet, my man. What is this? You see this and you think what?
It looked like she was laying on the red carpet, and her hairspray got a little bit, was a little bit dry, and she stood up. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know enough about the culture I've never seen anything like
this. Which culture? The Haitian culture?
Like, I know a lot about the Haitian culture.
We got resources.
There's a bug in Haiti that favors where her hair is.
Well, I can see it looks like a little bit of anime. I
can see that.
The Big Flow Show. This your Haitian Sensation Part 2. Your sister in here representing the culture. Is she representing what's going on here? You see this and you think what?
Our flag has red and blue in it. I do see some purple, so I know she might be meeting you later. There's some purple in there. I don't think we have. I don't know the hair thing. I don't really understand what's going on. Someone's got to talk to me about that. But the rope on top, that's Japan. We don't do that unless that's supposed to be like a dreadlock of some sort. I'm not really interested. But look, man. Even when y'all told me to dress up today, I still got on all black. I'm not the fashion guy here. I think this is a question for you, man. You got Dapper Dan behind you. You got Christmas decorations on your shoulder. I need to see what you think. Like wrapping paper. So I
really hate how you teed that up. Like, and then I come and say what? Like, you got this ornaments on you. I would say,
with all due respect,
that's how you start off your most disrespectful.
I gotta toss this back to you, my friend.
From a fashionable standpoint, and I do believe in fashion. For example, we were supposed to start at 8:30 a.m. Eastern today. We started at 9:20 because I believe in being fashionably late. For the first pet rally at Notre Dame, I walked out with an all-white suit. I'm from South Florida, Shallow Side Lauderhill, baby. Lot of Dale. A lot of Dale than me, so I wore an all-white suit. I believe in being fashionably risque. But I got to draw the line somewhere, and it was just shy of whatever she decided to do. And I guess maybe I might be a bit tainted because we have dealt with the mental health conversation of Naomi Osaka. We've dealt with whether or not her wanting to be out of the limelight should be supported by those of us that cover sports. And then I see this, and I'm thinking, what in the what? So I'm either mad at the stylist, mad at Louis Vuitton for whatever collaboration this is supposed to be, or I'm mad at Naomi Osaka for lying to us because this does not look like somebody that wants to be out of the limelight. I do give her an A for risk, but I can't go higher than a C- for execution.
Maybe this is how she feels inside, and this is what we should know. This is the mess that she feels like inside when she's in front of the media. And we should all know that. Maybe. I don't know.
Who else? We got to get to a few other people. Naomi Osaka, keep on doing your thing. The fact that she was chosen at such a young age and so early in her career to be a co-host of the Met Gala shows where it's going. There are other tennis greats. There's a tennis affiliation with the Met Gala. We know that every year Serena and Venus come and they do their thing. They did not disappoint. Serena's dress initially I thought was just a plain white dress. You look a little closer and that thing is lace. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. I get to see Serena in lace. Lord have mercy. But I digress. Venus is always a little more reserved. And I won't say, yeah, she's a little more reserved. She's more laid back than Serena. And that was true here. Some of the other mentions from the Met Gala. Who else stood out? Anybody stand out to y'all? We saw Russell Westbrook there. This time he was not in a dress, or they don't call that a dress. They call it a kilt. It's a kilt, right?
But he had a merce, didn't he?
You don't call it pank. You call it salmon. They don't call it a dress. They call it a kilt. You don't call it a merce. You call it a messenger bag. And Russell Westbrook left his kilt home this time, but he had his hair painted in blue. You had anybody else stand out in terms of athletes at the Met Gala in their fashion? Anybody stand out for you all?
Yeah, my favorite was the one that was probably the most simple. It was Leila Fernandez. So she played in the final, the US Open final. She lost to Emma Raducanu, but she showed up at the Met Gala with a black and white striped dress, and it was actually kind of paying homage to the Williams sisters when they were in Vogue magazine back when they were teenagers. And I just thought that was super dope. Like, she just looked like she came in a regular dress. She looked quote unquote underdressed. Yeah. But the context of it, I think, was just super dope. Really like respect. I mean, and Venus and Serena were there. So it's just as good to just see. I mean, Naomi Osaka has been a champion for, basically promoting the legacy and living on, the performance of Venus and Serena and the trails that they blazed. And so to see even younger doing that, I thought that was just like a nice tip of the cap for sure.
Agreed. How about you, the Big Flow Show?
Man, Serena came out like a whole flock of a whole flock of flamingos. I don't know if we could see that picture of her. A flock of flamingos.
That was her shawl or
That was her
her
thing. That's how
wrap.
she
Or I
got
don't know what you
down.
call it.
Somewhere between that and Simone wearing more weight on her back than she weighs. Something about the significance of that. Those are probably my two favorites.
I like Lewis Hamilton, the F1 driver, not only because now he had sort of a dress. It was like a slip hanging down from. I'm not there yet, y'all. And call me an old man. I'm not there yet. It was like a little sheer slip hanging down from his coat. But the thing that I like most about him is he bought a table that was specifically for up and coming Black designers. And I love that. The fact that he's using his money to help other people get exposure, and he's giving back. In terms of the fashion choice, I don't know if I can do the sheer slip hanging from my jacket type thing on one side of my body. But hey, man, again, it's about risk. You mentioned somebody, though, Simone Biles, because she had the twisties in the Olympics. We've talked about it here. But she wore a crystal-studded, how you say that? Swarovskis. Whoever make the crystals. Swarovskis. Whoever. Yeah. But the crystal makers.
Gus Swarovski.
Antoine.
It's messed up, man. Hey, I ain't getting into that with you today. But Simone Biles wore a dress that had crystals in it, wore 98 pounds. 98 pounds. And as you mentioned, the Big Flow Show, she probably only weighed 88 pounds. She had on a dress 98 pounds. And not only was she fashion forward, but she got a workout. I think that it was a great fashion choice. The Met Gala in this episode of At the Met Gala did not disappoint. It was a year off. They finally got back to hanging out and kicking it. Hopefully everybody was vaccinated. Hopefully everybody stayed safe. But it was fun to watch everybody. Simone Biles being there, though, reminds me of another story that we got to talk about in this week's episode of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. Because when sports, business, and entertainment collide, there are tragedies in sports. None bigger. I don't say none bigger because there's a lot of tragedy in sports, but for this week, there's a tragedy that is twofold. We know all too well the Larry Nassar story. For those on the rock, Larry Nassar is the doctor who was the Olympic team doctor who basically was a pedophile. He was fondling people, fondling young girls, and, calling what he was doing, he was calling it medical. He was acting as though it was treatment, and he did it to a lot of athletes across sports. But then the FBI, we found out, because Simone Biles was one of the gymnasts that was at the hearing this week about the botched FBI investigation. There's now a probe. The person who botched the investigation has been fired. But it's like these victims, because there's no other way to describe it, but these athletes were victims. It's like now they've been victimized again. To have to be under oath and talk about the things that happened and the things that you disclosed to an FBI agent in order to further investigation, to talk about it again is absolutely reliving it. They're being victimized again. So it's really tragic that they have to go through this. I hope that the FBI probe does what it needs to do to make sure that other people do not fall victim to a botched investigation. I don't know if you guys got to see any of it, but my heart goes out to all of the gymnasts that had to go and be under oath and talk about the actions of that vile, disgusting human being yet again.
The one thing that stood out to me that really bothered me is like you start hearing about the initial reports and how the FBI was basically telling them like this didn't happen or you're exaggerating, like, victim blaming and doing different things. It just kind of goes to say everybody out there who has a child that's in the situation, trying to achieve, because it seems like you hear more and more of these stuff. People, high achievers, people who really have a lot at stake, and these parasites that are the predators that are doing this are so good at positioning themselves with such high reputations that even you have the FBI, who should know better, questioning the child victims wondering whether or not this is even legit. And it scares me as someone who has a daughter and a son, that you just never know when you're out there. Like these people are dedicated, they're committed to being the sickness, to fulfilling the sickness, and there's just a lot of risk out there. So I hate that these ladies have to go through this, because from what I understand, these wounds don't heal very easily. So I hope they get a nice general population sentence.
You want to put in Gen Pop?
They should see how popular they are with the inmates.
I don't think he'll be very popular at all, and he shouldn't be. When you hear the stories, I will not defend the FBI for saying that they're exaggerating. That's crazy. If someone gives you that account, believe it and get to the bottom of it. But the story sounds so extreme that you're thinking, no human would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And ETP, I don't know what you thought about it, but it makes my stomach sick that a team doctor who's put in that position. And that's what they say about pedophiles, right? They're so good. A lot of them are narcissists such that they can convince anybody of anything. But this is someone that's sworn to take an oath and sworn to protect the patients that they serve, basically using that platform like a kid in a candy store. But instead, their candy is victims, humans. They're ruining lives. He ruined lives. It's just hard to stomach it.
Yeah, no, it's, I look at it like I just, try to think about how many, even at a basic level, right? Young girls, also males, right? That he violated, that might have had a potential career, right? Doing something in sports, and maybe that affected them. Not to mention the trauma mentally, psychologically, outside of it. And then to look at it and see these former Olympians or current Olympians, Simone Biles, the greatest gymnast that's ever lived, has basically was subjected to this, but has still been able to be a celebrity presence, has been able to be a business person, has been able to be the greatest athlete, or arguably one of the greatest athletes ever. It shows, it's a testament to the resilience, where she's at the Met Gala with a 5,000-pound dress, and then she's crying in front of the government in a Supreme Court testimony, and now she's on tour. Like it's really just a testament to her strength, and also the other women that testified as well. I applaud them. It's unfortunate, it's tragic that they had to go through it, but I think I try to look at the positive of it and really admire and appreciate their strength. The other side of it, this guy is evil. He clearly, and the systemic suppression of this is disturbing, and people always want to dismiss conspiracy theories and all of these things, but the government isn't always going to address certain things based on who's invested and based on who it could hurt and who it could affect. So it's really hard to, like you said, it makes you kind of sick to your stomach. It's a hard pill to swallow, to recognize that there are very clearly different rules for different classes of people, different positions of people, and it's disturbing. It's good that it's come out, but it's a question of, what is the recourse going to be? And there's probably nothing you can do to help resolve this for anybody in the past, but I think some level of, punishment, and really, more than putting this guy in Gen Pop, like, just let all the guards go off duty for a couple of hours.
Right.
And see, it's just,
well,
I don't know what the best punishment it would be for it, but it's just, it's the most extreme, and there's hundreds. It's not
how good could he have possibly been at his job that he continued to work with these people? Like, you see when it happened with Sandusky, Penn State had a great defense. They had, great football team, not justifying it, but you see where people are like putting winning over it. This guy was a trainer. Like,
yeah.
What
high powered, like high profile, right?
But what did he do that was so amazing that people just kept, you can't find somebody else to deal with?
Well, I think to quote Simone Biles, because she said that they turned a blind eye. The FBI turned a blind eye to this unbelievable, horrible behavior. And I think institutions did too. It's been reported and estimated that he had at least 265 victims. And I don't think that all means of punishment that other parts of the country use don't normally excite me. But in this case, I mean, 265 whatever, lashes or stones. It seems as though that there should be exceptions to the rule, and this would be one of them. I've been on Simone Biles a lot when it comes to the twisties, and I talked about mental fortitude, and from a performance standpoint, the U.S. Olympics, for her to be the greatest of all times, the greatest of all times, I said she has to undergo the scrutiny. In the same token, she does deserve credit for being able to represent herself at the Met Gala, go and testify and relive this nightmare. To have that level of mental fortitude shows just why she's such a powerful woman. And hopefully, and she said it all week, I saw Dominique Dawes and so many other old gymnasts are coming out and saying, thank you for speaking up. The misogyny that occurs in sports is what leads to an FBI investigation being botched because they can't believe that this is happening. And I'm not proud of it, but I am, and I've said it on this show before, I am committed to doing what we can do to make sure that we overcome it. And so I'm gonna transition a little bit, but before I do, because you talked about the Big Flow show, you talked about your daughter, who's a volleyball player. There are people who say that the outfits that some sports choose, like track, like gymnastics,
volleyball,
while you can't change the crazy thoughts of a pedophile, there's some that argue maybe we should do more to not entice these crazy people to be. I don't agree. I know with track you got to have.
I'm not worried about pedophiles. I don't want little Jimmy and Joe in the stands enticed by my daughter's shorts. I'm not thinking about the pedophile with those shorts. I'm thinking about the regular people. But
yeah, I don't know, man. I have to really put a break on that, because just because they dressed a certain way, like that does not encourage.
Disconnecting the two. No, the theory is this. I'm not connecting the two. We know that the behavior is vile. Set that aside. That's somebody that deserves the worst punishment known to mankind. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there are people that say, knowing that those monsters exist, right? As people who don't think that way, who would never behave that way, but we want our babies protected. Should we think about maybe not even having, the exposure to certain body parts, or maybe they shouldn't be so tight? And certain sports, they have to be. Gymnastics, you can't have a loose fitting clothes. But it's like, of course, pedophiles are gonna find their way into a volleyball gym in high school because the girls are wearing short shorts. No. And it's messed up, but I think we know what's gonna happen. Should we do something about it?
Would molest somebody who's wearing a burqa. I mean, they're sick people. I don't like the short shorts because of what is natural, where young boys naturally like young girls. I don't like the real stuff, the pure thoughts they're going through that I don't like. I don't appreciate those. So that's why
you don't like thinking how you used to think. That's what
I don't like the fact that going to the volleyball, I want to ask everybody if they understand the rules of the volleyball. If you don't, you got to go. If you're just here for the entertainment purposes. But as a man and someone who knows nature, I know that's natural, and I don't like that. But for the sickos, no, we're not covering up for
There's some that argue that there's misogyny even in the clothing decisions in certain sports.
There is.
There's misogyny in making sure that they're tight-fitting, that body parts are exposed. We're going to get to some name, image, and likeness stuff today. There's misogyny in deciding who is a viable, valuable name, image, and likeness client. Misogyny exists in sports, fellas, and it's up to us who I think we're all mindful of trying to undo what has been misogynistic systemically in sports. So it's up to us to have the conversation. But I do have to transition. And my transition is going to be, because this is, like we said, at the Met Gala episode, when it comes to the FBI, when it comes to that probe, right? It's just a bad look. There's nothing fashionable about that. They're re-victimizing these women. It's just a bad look. Simple and plain. But I'm going to transition because we do sports, business, and entertainment in the Ball Hog Sports Talk. There's a business element to it too. That is also misogynistic. The U.S. women's national team, when it comes to soccer, compared to the U.S. men's national team, when it comes to soccer, is night and day. The success that the U.S. women's national team has had, the dominance, although they didn't win the Olympics this year, they got the bronze medal. The dominance, and we were all shocked. Whereas if the men's would have won the bronze, we would have celebrated forever. The dominance in which our U.S. women's national team has shown over the last 20 years, whatever, it's legendary. However, the U.S. men's national team, who does not fare as well on the field, on the pitch, as they say, makes far more money. The women won the equal treatment case, but the equal pay case has been kicked down the road for a while. They had to now appeal. It doesn't look great. USA Soccer came out with an announcement saying that they're going to rectify that. And the Players Association for the U.S. women's team said this is just a PR stunt. Let's hop on in here, fellas. Equal pay has been a conversation when it comes to the disparity between men and women and what they are compensated for a long time in corporate America. We talked about it with basketball, but with basketball, it's not apples to apples when we're talking about this story versus soccer. Basketball versus soccer is not apples to apples. It's not. When it comes to soccer, this conversation is in a league of its own because of the drastic disparity in terms of success and performance the U.S. women's soccer team, U.S. women's national team has versus the men. And yet still the men are getting paid significantly more. Some people are blaming it on FIFA. The World Cup, the men are going to split up $440 million or something like that. The women are going to split up $60 million.
Is that so? That's what I was looking up right now. That's where you lost me. Okay, so we're in a capitalist society, right? This isn't socialist society. I believe the women's soccer is better than the men's soccer in the United States, not even close. We're more successful. I think it's just as entertaining to watch. I'm more likely to watch the women's World Cup, a women's Olympic team versus the men's Olympic team. But at the end of the day, what they're going to end up trying to do, they're proposing, is they're going to take all the money, put it in a pool, and pay them accordingly. And even though the men's team is not anywhere near as good, I have a hard time with that, because at the end of the day, it's not. Don't be mad at FIFA. Don't be mad at U.S. soccer. Be mad at society, because if there's only a revenue share of $60 million versus, was it 466? I was trying to look that up. 440 million. You can't just say that the women deserve a piece of that $440 million. There's nothing that the women are doing to generate that $440 million that they're getting from that share. So therefore, maybe the pay shouldn't be.
But the networks just created an equal, like that money wasn't specific to men's soccer. The money that they're making from this TV deal is for the World Cup, not for women versus men. So even FIFA's decision to me is misogynistic, right? But maybe they have some data that supports that the viewership is significantly higher for the men's matches versus the women's matches. That's
where is all that money? Where's that revenue share all coming from? If the $440 million is coming just from the ratings, maybe it's a global thing, and then we're getting our share. I don't understand all the economics.
It's the TV, it's the corporate sponsors. And maybe that's what we blame. Yeah. Do we say that in order for the network to enter this agreement with FIFA, they have to set some terms that said that this has to be a 50-50 split between men and women? Before Coca-Cola or Toyota or Mercedes, whoever is the title sponsor, before they agree to the terms of what the sponsorship for World Cup means, do they have to condition it that they who do we? And you're saying we got to blame the fans because how we consume. But even that is like a chicken and the egg. Like we consume based on how it's marketed. It's like the misogyny that existed is impacting the misogynistic results. If you understand what I'm saying, right? It's like we watch it differently because it's presented to us differently.
Yeah, no, you make a good point, right? Because I think the best example of sports pay parity across genders is tennis, right? So when they run any of the Grand Slams, you don't buy a ticket. I mean, once you get to the finals, semifinals, you might buy a ticket to go specifically see the men play in the semifinals or the finals, the women play, but you buy a ticket to the US Open, the Australian Open, Wimbledon, it's mixed up, right? So you get to watch tennis. You don't go and watch necessarily men's tennis, women's tennis, and they, for all the Grand Slams, pay is on par, right? The women's champion and the men's champion get the same pay. The ratings, I mean, this year's US Open, the women's final rated, I think, double what the men's did, and Djokovic was going for a sweep of the slams, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
this was going to be monumental,
calendar,
and he was going to have the record for the number of majors or championships won.
Real significance, yeah.
And he still couldn't rate what the women were because of the narrative. You had these two teenagers, came out of nowhere, great storyline, super personable people. But that being said, like basketball, like soccer, all of that is presented separately, and the women are not represented in a way, and there's not a same level of investment behind it. So you raise that point where if they had the World Cup at the same time and men and women were going on at the same time, could it add some balance to it? Because the reason that this whole thing started is because the US men were so bad and the US women were so great that people were like, wait a second, this pay is off. But if they were playing at the same level, either bad or good, we're just talking about, it's the ratings, it's the sponsorship deals, all of that.
Right.
But because everything's so segregated, even the corporate sponsors that are buying, I mean, there's big sponsors, Procter & Gamble, Budweiser, Nike, all of these big World Cup sponsors. They might also sponsor the Women's World Cup, but they're not dedicating that budget to activate it. They're not sending as much beer to the Women's World Cup as they are to the Men's World Cup. So the amount that they're investing, media, all that, is going towards the men. So how do you then turn around and say to the men's side, oh yeah, you're going to get paid just the same as the women, but the U.S. women's team is one team in that network of the global game?
I think the men's team came out in an amicus brief and supported the equal pay appeal. It'll be interesting
because they didn't find out they was getting less.
It'll be interesting now that apparently there's been a deal put on the table. It'll be interesting to see if they're gonna put their money where their mouth is, because in order for it to be fair, the split means that the men are gonna make less. That's just that. And so it'll be very interesting because you can virtue signal all the time. An amicus brief is good to say, in support of, but now your pocket's gonna get tapped. Now you got to live by what you say you believe in, and it's going to negatively impact what that direct deposit looks like. And so now we will truly see if the men's national team does believe in equal pay. But it's tough for me to see how everyone seems to be pointing the finger at everyone else. The men's national team would be a perfect scapegoat. Right? To say, well, the men decided they didn't want to split the money. Perfect scapegoat. But at some point, and you talk about your daughter as a volleyball player, I think that, again, as men, we got to step up and say right is wrong is wrong, because the sports world is a male-dominated industry, and we're seeing the impact of that. One day, your daughter's going to be in a career, right? And if she's doing the same work as you make it easy because you got a boy and a girl doing the same work as your son, why shouldn't she get paid the same? No, and that's essentially what we're talking about.
And I guess that's where it comes back down to this. And I take to heart what you said about the revenue might be different because of what the energy that they're putting behind it. You go back to the NCAA tournament and the lack of, promotion of the NCAA tournament for the women and what they're trying to do in the accommodations. That you're right. If you presented it more, I think a lot of people would be surprised, using basketball as an example, how enjoyable women's basketball is if they ever watch it. But I think a lot of people just aren't drawn to it. But if it was presented to you, you would do it. I enjoy the women's soccer better than the men's soccer in the World Cup level when you talk about the United States. In general, I'm more likely to watch the men's soccer in general. But to be honest, it's one of the sports where, there's no dunking in soccer. So, there's really nothing a woman can't do that a man can do with a soccer ball. It's just a little bit faster, but it's all relative because they're on the thing. So I enjoy watching it just as much. But when I saw the revenue, not thinking deeper and peeling the onion back, when you look at the revenue disparity as far as how much they have to work with, I'm like, 60 million versus 440 million. What is that all coming from? If that is coming from ad dollars, then yeah, you can skew that because maybe you're selling out cheap to the women's sports. Maybe you're not asking for enough, and you're negotiating poorly. Shouldn't hurt them because I don't think that the ratings are higher for men's soccer in the United States than it is for women's soccer. I don't believe that. I believe that I know for a fact I watch the women's soccer and I don't watch the men's soccer when it comes to World Cup because we're trash. So I do think, hey, pay them the same, see what's going on. The men ain't going nowhere. Where else you going to do? You're not going to go work. They're not going to go play football. So if they get paid less, they're not going to quit.
They are playing football.
And if they do, they're trash anyway. So
it is
shout out to those who we know were able to play both sports. My man Shane Walton played soccer and moved on over to football. But this conversation also means, right? Because it's the At the Met Gala episode, right? And we're thinking of it from a fashion standpoint. To me, this whole thing with soccer in general, this is a fashion faux pas that this has gone on for so long. It's become so entrenched in the fabric of soccer that these women have had to be significantly better. They're on the opposite ends of the spectrum in order for us to even have the conversation. Hopefully the soccer team gets it right. U.S. men's national team, you got to put your money where your mouth is. That's essentially what the position they put them in by supporting the women with the amicus brief. By supporting them with that amicus brief, they have put themselves in position now to defend it by way of compensation. So we'll see what happens. We got to get into name, image, and likeness because we do the updates here. The Ball Hog Sports Talk where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We're going to go name, image, and likeness. I got to get to that this week. Before I do, we'll take a pause for the station, if you will. I'm going to ask you like we ask you every week. Please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. The Ball Hog Sports Talk is in the building. Please subscribe in podcast space. I also, before we get to name, image, and likeness, have to give a shout out to our research team. The man, Big P, man, P himself. I'm going to leave him at just a P. I ain't going to give you his government name. But we got into this today at the Met Gala episode. Not only do you see the on-screen gentleman dressed up, even our research, I see you blinging, baby. Even our research team. Y'all don't see him back there, but he blinging, baby, blinging hard. We ain't messing around, man. The Ball Hog Sports Talk is at the Met Gala. We dressing for where we want to be next year. They're going to invite us, y'all. It's going to happen. We have been at the center of what name, image, and likeness looks like. We have been discussing it ad nauseum. And now, in this week, there's some great examples of name, image, and likeness. I want to call this, because, this episode is at the Met Gala. They're dressed for success. They're primed and ready to take advantage of the windfall of income, to take advantage of the new opportunities, to take advantage of the new platforms for exposure. Let's get into a few examples for this week. I love this freshman, a dude. I'll mess up his name, but I don't want to mess up his name because he's on 2K22. But there's a freshman that's going to Duke that has somehow, some way got himself. He's gotten into the video game. And you know how long we waited to see this? to see somebody, Paolo Banchero, I think that's how you say it.
That was good, man.
You like that?
That's how you know
I've
you
been
grew
working
up
on
in
the
South
accent all morning.
Florida.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that
You
Ellis
got
is the
that.
one that's telling you whether or not your pronunciation is right. Who made you the judge?
Right.
It just sounded convincing.
It sounded
by the way.
good. Yeah, you gotta say it with confidence, baby. You know what I'm saying? Just say it with confidence.
Cha-cha.
Paolo Banchero is making history because an incoming freshman is also on 2K22 in the NBA game. All right. This wrestler, Gable Stevenson, who's going to be defending his wrestling NCAA championship, is now signed a name, image, and likeness deal with the WWE. I think that's unprecedented. That's really cool. Whatever WWE wrestler goes in that ring with that man, y'all gotta remember he ain't acting. He really know how to wrestle. He gonna have you in that guillotine.
And win them headlocks.
Better tap out quick. This UCLA gymnast, Samantha Sakti. She's one of 4 college athletes that have signed a name, image, and likeness deal with Sam's Club. I think that's pretty creative. Sam's Club has signed these name, image, and likeness deals with college athletes that wear the name or wear the nickname Sam. I think that's pretty genius. But the last 2 that I want to get to, the first one we're going to talk about is the gymnast. $680,000 deal. And she had several options to choose from. Olivia Dunn. While gymnastics is what she does, really social media is what's drawing people to Olivia. $680,000, and it looks very clear in the initial advertisement in which she had announced this deal that they are celebrating her curves. They're celebrating the attraction that she has through social media that is largely by little, I didn't say thirsty, but pretty thirsty. That people that like her just because how she looks. We talked about it on the show.
It's a shame how hard it is to say that because we're scared of talking about attractiveness and whatever, like it's a bad thing that we got to toe that line and skate it. But if you look at her Instagram, for those of you guys who think ill of Bobby saying that, and you look at her Instagram photos, you're not going to see many flips. You're not going to see a lot of balance beams, but you are going to see a lot of hips. So nothing to hide from. That's just that's just human nature. But I wanted to let you off the hook there for towing that line for those listening, thinking, "Oh wow, he's just saying this." Look at her Instagram; it doesn't say anything about sports. But go ahead.
Anything about sports? She got over 1 million followers,
and God bless her for that.
She's got more followers than some of the women that were on our U.S. Olympic gymnastics team. Mm-hmm. So I'm just using that as a process of elimination, saying it can't be about gymnastics. And I'm okay with it in the sense that you do what you do on social media. You're a beautiful person, flaunt it. Show off. Like this beautiful jacket I got on. Yeah.
Ooh, you stop. You might as well, you might want to start your page.
Hey, you might want to start my OnlyFans. What I'll say this. When it comes to name, image, and likeness, though, when it comes to name, image, and likeness, we talked about whether or not there should be a line drawn. Because some of these brands, some of these fill in the blank companies, some of the whatever, they're going to objectify the young ladies or just the young athletes, ladies and guys alike. And I think this is an example of it. And maybe objectify is too strong of a verb because they're just taking advantage of what she's already created. But it just seems as though in the spirit of what we want for college athletes, it seems as though at some point someone's going to step over the line. And we're getting there a lot quicker than I thought. I don't know what you guys think about this particular deal. Shout out to her. She's making $700,000. She said it was a dream come true. But it just seems a little like, this ain't what it was about. Am I being too old school?
I think what it's about is letting people do what they can do. I think this is a great example. Yeah. She was not, because she's on a gymnastics scholarship, she was not able to be a model, basically. She's making all this money because of modeling, because she's an attractive person, which people do every day. Kim Kardashian, whatever you want to say. They make money because they're attractive, right?
B. Brown. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys like me, you know what I'm saying? And so and I don't think I should hide from you know what I'm saying, what God gave me, what he put up all up into the suit. But what I'm saying is like, so why should people, because she is a gymnast, why should she have to choose between the two? I think this is the perfect example. I know there was a famous.
You don't feel like she's being objectified? Like it's
yes,
maybe too far?
She is on her own accord, and she's
right.
she
for
wants
the bag.
She's doing it for the bag. People do it every day. This is what America is. This is what we're due. I mean, you get paid for it. She's an attractive girl. God bless her. You know what I mean? One day she's gonna grow older, and she may not feel like that's what she wants to do. So she's got a window that this is what she wants to do, and she should make money. But because she played sports, she couldn't do it. I remember the point guard that played for UNLV back when they had Stacey Augmon and all those guys. He had to choose
which one? Greg Anthony.
Greg Anthony. He had to choose between his scholarship and his, like, I think it was like I might be messing the story up. His T-shirt business. He made a business, and he had to give it up. He had to give up his scholarship because he was doing well enough with his T-shirt business. And I think we're just saying this is America. Why should one interfere with the other? So hers is even more of a reason why the name, image, and likeness should be theirs. She's making money now for something that has absolutely nothing to do with the scholarship that they're giving her.
Right.
And I think that why would you hold it back?
For you, ETP, I'll ask you the same thing. For you, is this deal the same as, the Sam's Club people? They're just benefiting from the fact that their parents named them Sam or called them Sam. Is it the same? To me, it doesn't feel the same, man. And I might be getting old, man.
Well,
it doesn't feel the same.
Every time we talk about this, you allude to the fact that you're getting old. And I think what we're seeing is there's no better example of this is a game of throwing noodles at the wall than Sam's Club giving NIL deals to people named Sam that are athletes and just to see what happens. Just like, oh, your name's Sam, we're going to give you a deal. So that just shows that all of this is just being figured out. And a lot of brands are just trying to find the angles. I don't know where you're saying this line is, but she has a deal with an athleisure brand.
Right.
They're going to pay her a lot of money. She's not selling anything provocative, borderline.
Did you see that picture?
States. No, I saw the picture, but if she was a professional athlete, would we have any criticism about it? She could. I mean, the same.
I don't want my daughter posing like that.
See, there's the litmus test. There's the litmus test. Do you hear that?
But you
just said it's okay, and then the next sentence says you don't want your daughter posing like that. Who happens to be a student athlete?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying, man. It just feels.
My daughter was a thespian. I don't want her posing like that. I don't want you taking pictures booty first. I don't like that. But you know what? There's a lot of booty first for people out there whose dad just had to be mad. Just a lot of pissed off dads out there while people make money. That's America. I looked through a lot of her pictures today, so I don't know her dad. Me and her dad didn't go together. So you know,
you DM'd him and said,
you know what? I'm okay with that because you're publicly you're expressing this double standard, and I'm okay with it because you ain't hiding from it.
You got two boys, so y'all got boys. You know, I'm the only one here who was blessed with a daughter, and it's a blessing and a curse sometimes because you start thinking, damn, she started getting cute.
I think you just tried to sun us real quick. Your sperm better than us because you had girls. You see how that just worked, ETP? Oh, your semen better than mine because
it is better than yours, but that was proven well before. Let's not talk like that. But anyway.
if it was Serena, is it over the line? If it's Serena,
yeah, but Serena's daddy don't like the fact that you look at the cheeks.
Is it?
I think that the difference is
a problem. Is there I don't know. Let's start. What's the line?
I think the difference
is the line that you're talking about.
I don't think that she crossed the line. I just think that when I see that picture of her announcing that this is the deal, and it is absolutely bootylicious, booty first. I think that we are entering quickly into the zip code of too far because this is athleisure, but there are other sites out there. I told you, I was like, how far are we going to go? Are we going to let the athletes do like gambling stuff? Is there going to be, I hate to say it, but it's pornography in play here. I don't know. I'm just saying that when I see booty,
what you're talking about is control. Who are you to say?
I'm nobody. I'm nobody when it comes to her decision.
I haven't seen you with a sign protesting porn. So now you're saying who can do porn? So that the colleges should be able to say because you're an
I'm
athlete,
not.
you can't do this.
I am not.
If you can wear that jacket,
if
you
someone
can
let
wear
you buy
that jacket
I'm
and
offended by
disrespect
that.
porn because you look like.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you're saying, like, where's the line? That's the whole
with
point
this coat on.
That's the whole point with this ruling is how are colleges able to make a line? Who are you to make a line for
I don't think the college needs to make the line. I think the NCAA has to give rules and guidelines. So someone chasing a bag doesn't go too far. You asked me about Serena, I'll answer. Serena at this point in her career, and even early in her career, because she had so much promise to make big bank when it came to tennis, she could be selective in what she chooses. And so if somebody were to get Serena in a athleisure ad, and it seems to be booty first, she's going to be compensated handsomely for that. And I think that young people, not to be overprotective and paternalistic, but I think that 700,000 looks like a big deal to her, but it's really not that much money. And
pay me.
It's more than
in the grand scheme of things. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that much money. Whereas, let's say Serena's in the same athleisure ad, the exact same ad. She's making several $1 million and probably getting shares and stock. It's just different. That's all I'm saying.
She has several million
but we're
social media followers.
And I guarantee you don't remember that lady's name. Who's the gymnast? You see who? You don't know. She's getting paid as a model.
What's her name?
You don't know.
What's her name? I got.
She's not getting paid because she's popular. She's getting paid because she's attractive. She's just getting paid like any other cute girl would be paid to be a model that's athletically built. She's not. Is she even a good gymnast? She went on the Olympic team.
That's not the gold standard of it. I think she's good in gymnastics. That's the other thing.
She got a college scholarship, but she's not a star.
Hear her statement though. She said, "I'm getting to the point where I got to balance." She said she put it in this order: school, social media, and gymnastics. That's how she said it, in that order. So I'm just recalling it in the same order she brings to me to the last topic in name, image, and likeness, the Boz. Bosworth basically said that we're really entering a danger zone, going down a slippery slope. We know that if they would have had name, image, and likeness opportunities when the Bosworth was playing, he would have made millions. He was a household name, the darling of all college football. Played for Oklahoma at a time where they were a powerhouse. And he was a blast from the past type linebacker that everyone loved. So to hear him say it, I think has credibility, but it also brings me back to, like, why would Miss Olivia Dunn put it in that order when she talked about the balance? Social media trumps the gymnastics. Yeah. I just think that we're taking the cart in front of the horse. Like,
it should come.
Well,
and this is where I think that this is where I warned initially. This is where I warned the problem would be is that now the priorities change.
Why is it a problem?
That's a problem. They gotta. They should be.
Hey, you know Alvin Miller? Exactly. Bosworth is jealous. He's mad because Bosworth drew all that attention to himself with his crazy haircuts and all this dye and all stuff. Look at me, look at me, look at me. It didn't get paid. Now he wants to come out and say, well, this is a distraction. Shut up, man. You were such a distraction to the team and everything going on. Then he gets suspended for some stuff he did, some like wearing the wrong thing or something. He got suspended. So shut up. Like, make your money, man. We raise these kids to be morally the way that our family wants the morals. That's number one. If you're a God-fearing family, you want them to put God in there. That's number one, I should say. Number two, you obviously morality, which is part of that. But then we want them to be successful so that they can go off and earn a living and have a nice life, right? Yeah. That's why we have these kids stay in school, do all this stuff. All it is find a way to make money so that you can make money the rest of your life. So she can make money the way that it's paying her. And we feel the fact that we even feel like we should have an opinion and talk about whether it's too far. What the hell do we think we are? She's got her own life.
We got to have an opinion. We have an opinion on all of it. It just sounds cheap.
It's too far. It's not too far.
Sounds cheap, man.
You are saying it's too far.
Well, anything's for sale. Anything for sale?
Anything's legal.
But I disagree in a very specific way, right? So what Bosworth is saying resonates with me in the sense of, and we can even go back to Naomi Osaka, right? So we're now in a situation where the core focus of what these athletes are doing is being diluted by the fact that they have to focus on these other elements of their life when the quality of their performance is potentially being compromised. Like Naomi Osaka is a very specific example, right? Granted, there's all types of conflict in terms of her taking liking to celebrity status versus focusing on her craft or being, I guess, deterred from her path of playing the sport. So that's the thing for me, where if you're coming in at 18 years old and the whole point is
you can go to war.
Yeah, you can, but
you
don't go to war and then be like, okay, well, let me see if I can get a sponsorship deal at the same time while I also have to learn training.
Are they 18 or they not? Can we go
to
war?
But I'm talking about the integrity of sports, the integrity of sports, and the maximization.
And get PTSD that we don't protect them from, or can't they? So now those people are old enough. But now we're sitting there, the athlete, we got to protect them.
I'm not saying they can't do it.
I'm making too much money because of this.
I'm talking about the delusion.
Act like we care. Nobody, society doesn't give a damn about these
I'm talking about the delusion of the focus on the craft. And if they are still going to be an elite athlete when they have to basically fragment their focus and they have these other obligations, and to the point where a $680,000 endorsement deal is much more than your scholarship. Much more.
Probably not even on a full scholarship.
So that's where I agree. Because the NCAA said, we're not paying you no money. The colleges said, we're not paying you any money. We're going to keep our money. You can go find money elsewhere, but you still have your obligations. So it's essentially, is it going to erode the quality of the sports?
Look, man, call me grandpa. And I'm cool with that. I just think it's a slippery slope when we say everything's for sale. And I'm seeing it at the youth football level. Everything's for sale.
Those are children.
So are they.
Nope. Go to
Big Flo Show. You have an 18-year-old son.
He's grown.
He's not grown. Because there's certain decisions that you will absolutely not let him make. Because you understand as his parent, he's not.
Father.
Yes, as his father.
He's grown to you.
He's grown to me. He's grown legally.
If my son make the mistake to step you on the street, you can whoop his ass. He's grown now.
I wouldn't do that. And anybody with a right mind wouldn't do that, because, like, if you saw a 44-year-old man fighting an 18-year-old, you'd be like, bro, what are you doing? That's a child. Yeah. There's certain decisions you don't let him make because he's still your child. I'm not saying that her getting the money is necessary. It's not all bad. I just think it's opening up Pandora's box. And the earlier and earlier, which is going to happen, earlier and earlier these name, image, and likeness deals are offered, the more we are we turning these kids into, look, and I'm going to give you the example from youth football. Like they're 9-year-old kids. All you got to do from the other side of town is say, we getting 5 new jerseys and they gone. Like there's no real concentration on the sport anymore. Like let's focus on the sport. And then once you focus on that, let's come up with a construct that says that, yeah, that's a viable pay stream for what you've done as an athlete. I don't think everything should be for sale. I'm glad Olivia Dunn is making $700,000 for showing the gluteus maximus and doing the TikToks dances, whatever it's called, the TikToksicity. But Grandpa says at some point we got to draw a line.
The proper verb is TikToking.
TikToking. Her TikToking has made her $700,000. Maybe I need to go TikToking. I'm going to put on this jacket. I'm going to TikTok today for the first time. If it can lead to $700,000, but I'm a grown man. If I want to go out there and sell my goodies on the interwebs, then it's all good. The younger and younger that these, now I'm going to call them clients. I'm going to call them entrepreneurs. The younger and younger they're entering into these deals, it scares me. And the focus has already been off when it comes to the balance of student athlete. You're throwing in a whole different juggernaut when they're trying to go and create deals and figure out how to comply with the demands or whatever that agreement requires. It's just a lot. And so that's it. I know I'm being grandpa here. I'll give you guys parting shots, man. Anybody want to go out with a bang? I know we got the producer's cut. If you want to get anything in quickly, ETP, I'll start with you, my brother.
So we're going to start an Instagram handle for your jacket after the show. At B Brown Flashy Jacket.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's always things that don't make it. I think we had a spirited conversation. RIP to Evander Holyfield's career. He got TKO'd in the first round by a UFC Hall of Famer, not a boxer.
Before it started.
You see what happens when anything's for sale? That man Pride out there. That's just anyway. Go ahead. Sorry, ETP.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And then Conor McGregor trying to fight outside the ring. He went to the VMAs, threw a drink at Machine Gun Kelly for he turned him down for a photo, and I guess Conor McGregor doesn't like to be turned down for anything, so he tried to start a free fight. It wasn't for sale at that point. He was giving it away for free.
That's crazy.
And they almost got into a fight, which is crazy. I mean, this Conor McGregor is just you give people just enough freedom to just operate, and then they just kind of continue.
That's all we doing, creating a whole bunch of Conor McGregors with this no regulated NIL stuff. But they all gonna be divas soon. Go ahead. Sorry, ETP.
Yeah. Another one. Athletes. Time 100. Most influential people. 6 athletes out of the 100. Simone Biles, who we talked about, her gymnastics teammate.
Shout out.
USA Gymnastics gold medalist Suni Lee. Your B Brown's allegedly #1 greatest of all time football player on Tuesdays, Tom Brady. Allison Felix, most decorated track and field star in the Olympics. Shohei Ohtani as a newcomer, the pitching phenom and home run leader, who I guess they're about to shut him down for pitching. He has arm soreness for the season, but arguably one of the greatest baseball players we've seen, and he hasn't even finished the season.
Man, he got the twisties. There ain't no arm soreness.
And then the last wear a 90-pound dress to the next Met Gala.
Exactly. With his interpreter. So, and Naomi Osaka rounds out the list. So, all really influential people. Suni Lee was an interesting addition. And I'm glad. It's funny because we talked about Simone Biles backing out on her team, and she actually gave an opportunity for other athletes on her team to get some recognition. So that was cool. Then the last one, Giannis Antetokounmpo, his mother.
Say the last name again.
With your chest.
Antetokounmpo.
Oh, you showing out. You got that. He educated. He educated.
That's that Yale.
Yeah, I
went to community college for my master's, so I can't say stuff like that.
So his
barber school for my master's.
His mother and his brother just got their Greek citizenship. Originally, his parents are Nigerian. They just got their citizenship. So all you gotta do, if you need some citizenship, all you need is to win the NBA Finals.
Ain't about nothing. Everybody, y'all ain't about nothing. Everybody want to ride the gravy train. You wasn't with them shooting in the gym. Now they want to give them the citizenship. You know what? Good stuff, man. Anything else?
Shout out to Euros.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Anything else in the producer cut, ETP?
That's all. That's it, my friend.
All right. The Big Flow Show. Any parting words?
Just like, once again, man, I'm right and you're wrong. So I think at the end of the day, the most
just blanket statement, huh?
Blanket, you know what I'm saying? So for people who go tune in late. I just think in general, the way I look at this stuff, the NIL things obviously was sticking with me the most. And I just think we had to let people do what they got. Let people do you. Let it do what it do. People are going to go out there and make money. Someone's going to end up having an OnlyFans one day, and we're not going to like it because of our personal beliefs. But you know what? This is America, and you got to be able to go do what you can do. Hell, you can sell weed in America now. You can do what you want to do. There is no limit. There's actually somebody, and we didn't talk about this on the show ever, because I know in the NFL they're not allowed to, when they're active in the NFL, you can't do alcohol. I don't think any major sports you can do alcohol commercials, but there was a college guy that got an alcohol ad because there's no rule for that there, which is new. Now I can see that becoming something that they want to go ahead and block. A little bit there, just because the same spirit.
Don't you dare! You gonna let the pouring gonna happen, but they can't sell a beer? Come on, man.
They talk about prostitutes in the Bible. Anyway,
so that's Reverend Big Reg.
The Big Flow Show. I gonna tell my government name coming out. Reverend Reginald Bernard. No, but I'm just saying. So
you are kind of dressed like a new age reverend.
Good, boy. Good.
Don't you dare, Mr. Gospel Pimp Suit wearing. Don't you dare pile on that.
Hey, I said you look good, man.
You gotta look good, you know. This is all I got. He got all purple. I got one little piece of fabric to try to set it off.
I love it. I love it.
Anyway, no, that's it, man. Love y'all.
Love you too, brother. Hey, this has been the At the Met Gala episode. We look good. No, first of all, we showed up, we showed out, and we did so with some flash and some flair. It's been fashionable. You see the jacket. You see Dapper Dan. Where's he at? You see Dapper Dan behind me being all dapper. Look, I would not want to be dapper with anybody other than the crew. My man ETP else, the producer. My man, the Big Flow Show. It's been a great episode. This is the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We ask you kindly, like we do every week, please like, please comment, please share. Tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and subscribe in the podcast world. At the Met Gala, we're going to be there next year as invitees, and we're going to show out for the culture, and the culture is the Ball Hog Sports Talk world. Hey, y'all, we is out. Have a great weekend. Peace.